if I'm going to advise somebody, if I were to tell a man, right, is it a good idea in 2024 to get together with a single mom if another choice was viable? The answer is definitely no.
I'm telling you guys all this so that when these stupid bitches level this criticism, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Clearly, I was dumb. I miscalculated. I had issues and problems that made me do these things. Do I have 5 kids by 3 guys? Yes, I do.
Hey guys, welcome back to At Liminal Period. It's your girl, Chun-Li Shoddy. Today I want to take a look at a clip from the Whatever podcast where Andrew Wilson is talking about single moms and the dating market. The reason why I want to take a look at this video is because I have only ever seen Andrew Wilson debating gender roles and traditional roles within a relationship or within a marriage on these dating podcasts. I haven't actually heard him speak directly about dating single moms. If you guys aren't aware, Andrew Wilson is actually married to Rachel Wilson, who was a single mom of 3 when they got together. So I just want to get his perspective on it. So without further ado, let's get into today's video.
Disagree on the view Brian and most others have on single moms. So I guess what is the position that you think I or others have on this?
Well, it might not necessarily be your point of view. Thank you. It's just point of views I've heard before on this podcast or other podcasts about how generally children of single mothers turn out to be the bad bunches of the world.
It's true.
I get that, and I don't disagree with like the statistics of it and all. I guess where I disagree is putting solely the blame on the fact that it's a single mother and not necessarily a single parent in general, because some of the turnout situations could still be the same if it was.
They're not though. When it's a single father at home, the problems and the outcomes are significantly better than when it's with a single mother at home. That's why it's viewed this way with so much social stigma. So the idea is not to say that women who are single, many times women can become single through no fault of their own. Perhaps they're in an actual abusive relationship. Perhaps their husband dies. Perhaps, there's any number of different situations which can cause it. But if you were looking to advise, if let's say you had an entire pool of men to advise, then you were to look at the numbers and you go, okay, look, the amount of shit that you're going to put up with marrying a single mom versus not marrying a single mom is massive. You're putting up with a lot more shit, a lot more trouble. Now you got exes involved. You got all of this involved, right?
Babies.
It's probably better if you have viable options external to a single mom to take those. Now, there's many situations where marrying a single mother works out fine. Dating single moms works out fine. There was no problem with that. But it's not often, right? Those are much smaller in the percentage of the pool versus the amount of people who end up with catastrophic situations because now they have to not only deal with you, but they have to deal with children that are not theirs, and then the fathers of those children, the extended families of those fathers of those children who all want to be involved. That's where the viewpoint is like, so if you were going to advise your son, if you had all of that data and there was options in front of them, and so option 1 is, I really like this girl, but she has children from another man, but I also really like this girl and she doesn't, right? It seems pretty clear that you would advise him, hey, maybe you should think, if that option's available to you, about going with that because there's less potential for damage to you if you're looking for the best for your own kids, right? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense. I mean, like, that's pretty logical. If all things equal and given the choice, yeah, most men wouldn't go for a single mom as their first choice. Like, that is very common logic. But I also think, given the circumstances, like he said, is she a widow? Is she divorced? What are the reasons that led to her being a single mom? And then also, I don't think he actually mentioned it, but how is she as a single mom? Is she present in her children's life? Is she taking care of the home, providing for them? Is she still dealing with her ex? I think there's a lot of different things that we need to take into consideration when you're talking about dating a single mom. So, you can avoid a lot of that by dating a woman that don't have any children.
Before I have you answer that, I actually didn't hear you actually raise this from the context of dating. Now, perhaps it's your position. The only thing I heard was just you've heard people say that when it comes to raising children, the outcomes of the children when raised in a single mother household as compared to single father household. But is it also just because Andrew's now in the realm of dating, right?
Yeah.
Are you also have qualms there when it comes to, hey, it's suboptimal to date single moms as opposed to childless women?
Oh, no, definitely not. Like,
Oh, okay.
I definitely
So Andrew, I think her position is simply just the whole single moms raising children, the outcomes for the children as compared to the single fathers, not really a dating. I don't think she has qualms on the dating front.
They're much worse across the board.
Okay.
So they're much worse in criminality. And here's why. I'll tell you why this is the case. It's because of the external component of stepdad. So stepfathers are far more likely to abuse the kids. Stepdads are far more likely to have a revolving door, right? Or boyfriends, much more likely to have a revolving door. Single dads, that doesn't work that way, right? So if a single dad has another woman who enters in the kid's life, they have a lot more power to do something about any type of problem which may occur, right? Not going to have the same dependency issues. They're not going to have the same revolving door. And so the chances of abuse go significantly down. So for instance, if I was single tomorrow and I was dating a woman and I saw some kind of abusive tenants, right? Very easy for me to be like, get the fuck out of here, lunatic. And what is she going to do about it? Nothing. But the other way might not be so easy, right? So this is why you generally have better outcomes with single fathers, is because they can actually do something when it comes to this idea of abuse, and they are far more likely than the biological dad to abuse kids. Like overwhelmingly. Not all of them do it. In fact, probably most of them don't do it. I'm just saying that statistically, they're more likely to. So that's why the outcomes tend to be better with single fathers than single mothers.
And isn't there data that per capita looking at children raised by single fathers as compared to single mothers, for example, incidents of criminality?
Yeah, I brought that up. But that's why the incidences of criminality come.
Sure.
So me being single is better for my child? Is it, like,
What?
No, it'd be
well, no,
worse.
if you
I do
say-
have to move it on, but if you can
So,
make your
so
point.
the chances are, and this is just raw facts. These are just raw facts,
Yeah.
okay? The chances of you introducing a new man into your child's life are likely going to be more detrimental than if you were in a relationship with the child's biological father for the course. Now, that doesn't mean that that's going to be true. I'm just talking about risk factors.
Yeah.
The risk factors are higher, that's all.
So yeah, so I'm saying, like, from my point of view, I've been single since I've been single.
Mm-hmm.
So from what you're explaining, that means that, like, my outcome would be slightly better
still
because I'm not having that
higher.
rotating
Yeah,
door.
the outcome
of-
the outcome may be slightly better because you don't have other men coming in. However, it's still going to be suboptimal as to if you had probably stayed with the father. And so that's why, like you said, you're a Christian, churches will often recommend, look, there's no abuse, there's no drugs, there's no stuff like that. You guys are just having a hard time reconciling some issues. You should probably still stay together to make sure that the kids have the best shot at life, because after they're out the door, then you can do something different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's often why even non-religious counselors will often advise this.
So I think what Andrew is saying is true. However, this is not me trying to tone police or anything, but I'm just trying to explain the gap in understanding, okay? Because the lady in blue with the blonde hair, she automatically assumed was, oh, so are you saying it's best for me to just stay single? Okay. No, what Andrew is saying is correct in the past. Okay. As in, whenever you're having a child with a person, if you're married, if you're just in a relationship, the best thing for you guys to do is to stay together, work it out, whatever you guys have going on, and raise that child together in a nuclear family. Okay. So that is a fact. However, she's been single since she first entered singlehood. Okay, so it sounds like she doesn't have a revolving door. However, the answer is not for her to now remain single until her child is 18, then start dating again. No, the answer for her is to take care of her child, take care of her responsibility, make sure that she is dating a man and understands that she might have to make some concessions if he doesn't have a child or a family of his own already, or she might have to date someone older that doesn't want more children or can't have children, or, you know, like there's a lot of different people that she can come across. But the thing that you want to make sure is that you don't want your child, your responsibility, to now become a burden or a huge responsibility for that next person, or at least not in the beginning, right? Because I know I'm going on a tangent, but once you step up and get into that relationship as a man, I hope you do treat that child as if they're your own. I know it's never going to be 100% the same, but you know, you should go out of your way to love that child, take care of that child, and take on responsibility as if he is your own, or she, you know. But anyways, I think that's where the gap is in her understanding.
Okay. You said also the viewpoint that women are more attractive at 20 than 40. So what was your thing there?
I mean, kind of, you asked earlier about if I thought I looked better now than I did at 20. And I understand the whole man point of view about like how they look, how when we're younger we look more fertile and we are more, fertile
Youthful.
looking as young women. I just, personally, I believe that women look slightly better. Even men, we look better in that middle of age, somewhere between 30 and 40, when we have more matured features. We slightly don't look so babyish in our faces, not as young, and I just think that we look slightly better, slightly
Well, I think
older.
I think as women age, definitely their taste age when it comes to comes to men.
100%.
Not confident that is the case the other way around. That that men aren't still attracted to younger women, because all the data that I've seen most definitely shows that they are. Whereas women, it seems that their tastes slightly deviate. Though they still, from a beauty standard point, still go, okay, 25-year-old men are still better looking on average
The
than
older we get,
45-year-old
the
men.
men age like fine wine. Like,
Well, I think the tastes change because of the valuation of different things. They just value different things.
Yeah.
Men at 45 are still looking at women as vessels and carriers of children. That's what the attraction comes from. So youth is associated with that. Of course, that's why you'd be attracted to younger women.
yep.
So, I mean, it's not even really that difficult to understand.
It's not, yeah. I don't disagree
Do you
with
have
that
the
at all.
study though?
Actually, we can bring
No,
it
I
up.
know.
You can go to, if you want.
I mean, I think it's
You can actually go to my-
societal understanding
A
of
really
it.
good place to source a lot of this data, especially on the abuse in the home. You can go to my wife's Substack, Rachel Wilson, and you can check. I mean, she's gone through and compiled huge amounts of data just to kind of go through these one at a time, because she argues with feminists so much. Probably the best anti-feminist debater in the world. And
Oh, I'd love to meet her.
her book, Occult Feminism, it compiles some of this, but her Substack has most of the kind of cultural battle statistics that we're kind of going over all the time, but especially in the case like this. And I think what happens is people often, they think that you're attacking them based on their situation.
Yeah.
When you're not really attacking them based on their situation, you're just explaining the distinction in risk assessment. You're like, look, if I'm going to advise somebody, if I were to tell a man, right, is it a good idea in 2024 to get together with a single mom if another choice was viable? The answer is definitely no. It is definitely no, you shouldn't. Okay?
I would agree with that.
And what happens is, because they're in the situation where they themselves are a single mom, they see that as an attack. But it's not an attack. It's just showing, look, this is what is true. It's not the case that it may be true in your situation or anybody's situation. But there is like a statistic here that we can look to, that we can make these kind of general determinations off of based on
You
outcomes.
guys heard Andrew Wilson said that he would not advise young men to date single moms if they had viable options. So, like I said, I think that's very interesting given the fact that Andrew Wilson did marry a single mom of 3 kids with 2 baby daddies. And you guys can hear Rachel Wilson tell it for herself.
I'm telling you guys all this so that when these stupid bitches level this criticism, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Clearly, I was dumb. I miscalculated. I had issues and problems that made me do these things. I am not saying I'm an innocent, sweet angel. I'm not saying I was perfect. I was never promiscuous, though. You got to understand. I've had 3 long-term relationships in my life that comprised 27 years of my life. From age 16 to now, I've been with 3 people. So I was not hoeing. There was no promiscuity. I was not bed hopping. I was not homie hopping. There was none of that going on. I never even had a chance to do that. I had my first baby when I was 20. I've been like a very dedicated mom, homemaker since I was 20. Do I have 5 kids by 3 guys? Yes, I do. I know how that sounds. And I knew when I was 26. I knew at 26, I was like, people will hear this about me and they're going to assume all the things I would assume. And I'm going to have to just accept that. I'm going to just have to accept the fact that they're not going to care about my reasons, my excuses, my situations I was in. They're going to see, 5 kids by 3 guys, and this is what they're going to think of me. And that's okay.
Okay, so you guys heard Rachel Wilson say it for herself. She was a single mom of 3 by the time that she was 26. Okay, so the reason why I want to share this video is because, the reality is there are a lot of children that are born out of wedlock. There are a lot of children raised by single moms. And at the end of the day, we know that the best thing that we can do for that child is to provide them with a mother and father figure in the house. And ideally, it would be a biological parent. However, with the reality of single mom rates on the rise, you know what I mean? Those children still need a father figure in their life. They still need direction and guidance and protection and provision. And, a lot of times the conversations in these red pill talking space, it seems to be very divisive. And at the end of the day, that's not what we need. And so anyways, like I said, I'm not creating this video to attack Andrew or Rachel or anything like that. I would really appreciate a conversation on the Whatever podcast or any other podcast that Andrew frequents. Okay, let's have a conversation around what makes a good single mom. What were the signs that you saw within Rachel when you guys first started dating? What were the signs that made you want to make her your wife if she already had 2 failed relationships prior to you? What were the reasons that made you want to take that risk and provide for Rachel and her children? And these are honest and serious questions because, like I said, sometimes I feel like we lump everyone into a bucket. And where is the understanding? Where is the compassion that you had when you were making the decision in your own life? I know they often talk about stats, and I'm not devaluing it or taking away from that because those stats matter, right? And it's reflective of reality. So it does matter. Right? But like he says, not every stepdad is bad. And he should know that. He's a stepdad to 3 of her children. And I'm sorry, I know I'm beating a dead horse. But like I said, I'm really interested in having a conversation around the solutions or what are some of the green flags. But I don't know if they would ever actually approach that conversation with a 10-foot pole on any of these podcasts because a lot of times they lack accountability. So anyways, I've enjoyed this conversation. If you guys did too, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And I look forward to speaking with you guys next time. Bye.